What I did at MetGlasss is I was an overhead crane operator for blast furnaces. So I basically ran and operated like these big crucibles inside of a warehouse that basically poured liquid metal and things out, kind of like Terminator 2. You ever see the end of Terminator 2? I worked in that kind of environment, but we didn't have like pits of molten metal just hanging out that you could lower Terminators into. But like we still did that kind of thing with like crucibles and cranes and things like that. How did I fall? I fell 5 stories. Well, what happened is it was my turn to take the straps off. And so I got on the platform. I felt like it was seated, and I started taking the straps off. And then the guy wasn't paying attention, and he hit the crane because the crane was run by a wireless controller. He basically pulled the block of the crane up, which pulled the rack system out of its seat. And basically, I'm standing on this rack system, and it goes like this. So, like, there's this guardrails underneath it, these big yellow guardrails. So I fell and hit those guardrails, and then the crane block just like this because of all the weight that just kind of like fell on it. And it took a while for the brakes of the crane to catch the block. So I fell 5 stories onto like some metal pipes. The flooring of this rack system was like that grate flooring, like you could get your fingers into like this. So I grabbed a hold of that, but I fell. And I stripped out every muscle from there to there in both arms, just holding on to this thing. I broke the T4 and T5 vertebrae in my back. I didn't break them, I fractured them. I didn't know I did it at the time. I didn't learn I hurt my back. I didn't learn that I fractured the vertebrae in my back till like 8 years later when I started having back pains. My weight, I was around 360 to 370 pounds when I worked at MetGlasss. So about what I was a year or so ago. But I was more muscle. Like I had a lot of muscle. Like I could take it, like I fuck with you not. When I worked at MetGlasss, I could take a sledgehammer with a 20-pound head on it, grab it by the very end of it, and hold it straight out. Like hold my arm straight out. I could do one on both sides like this. Like that's something I used to do with like the guys when you're bullshitting. Because you got such like my arms, like that's still a solid piece of muscle. I have Popeye arms because of MetGlasss, because I used that muscle so much. I've worked at MetGlasss 4.5 years. From the time I was like 18 till 22 and a half.